What is going on, traders? Happy Wednesday. I hope you guys have all been having an amazing day, but I'm going to go ahead and get right into today's recap and let you guys know exactly how my trading went, so let's jump right into it. And as you guys can see from the screen, it was a red day overall on my account, right? The Nasdaq was down, so it's no surprise, right, that lots of my swing trades are in the red today. And so as far as what I was actually day trading today, it was SQs, and you guys can see I was up 164.55 on that. And on TQs, I didn't mean to actually trade it today, right? I thought I was buying into SQs, and so I did take that small $7 loss just buying in and out really quick. But so I was just pretty much primarily focused on SQs. And so as you guys can see, these are all my filled orders, right? I started trading right at market open, mistakenly bought into TQs, sold out of it, and then just trading SQs the rest of the day, right? But as you guys can see, I stopped trading today at 7:30, so I was really only trading for an hour. But let me go ahead and explain to you guys how I was able to make my money. But as far as what I saw going on, right, it's no surprise that, I've been mentioning it in my videos all week, but the NASDAQ I felt had been more overbought around these levels, right? Even if I zoom out to the bigger time frames, right, on the past 180 days, you guys can see the NASDAQ since January 6th went on a really nice run. It ended up pulling back a bit, consolidating, and then ended up making a new high here, right? So I just knew that around these levels we have been on a run, right? And it typically tends to pull on back before it continues the uptrend, right? So it's no surprise to me that we pushed on up, made a new high, and we would experience some type of pullback and correction in price, right? So that wasn't surprising to me, and that's why all week I've only been focusing on the inverse ETF of the Nasdaq, SQQQ, right? I just feel like SQQQ has more margin for me to make money on, right? So that's why I'm primarily focusing on that this week. But we did start to experience a bit of a resistance area the past few days around this general area, so it made sense to me why heading into market open today I was gonna potentially try to get into SQs and make money with the market selling off, right? And so what I saw going on was the Nasdaq was indicating signs of a sell-off during the pre-market session, right? Trading between the middle and the bottom VWAP. And what actually ended up happening, well, at market open, right, the Nasdaq started to sell off, and I got into SQQQ, right? And right around this area was actually I made a crucial mistake that I want to make you guys aware of. So markets open at 6:30, right? I'm getting into SQs. I'm sizing up, right, when it makes sense to me, and sizing back down when it also makes sense to me to not be in so heavy, right? And you may be asking yourself, how did I know when to just not be in with such an aggressive dollar amount? And I just was pretty much just observing how it was trading, right? It would push to around the general bottom VWAP area, and it would have these pop-ups or pop-ups right back to the EMA, right, where it would correct itself in price. Then it would pull on back, then push back up to the EMA. So anytime I was fully in and it would approach the bottom VWAP, right, that's when I would do my part in locking in majority of my profit, only for this thing, right, to set itself up again and for me to continue to do that. And so I tried doing my best trying to, size in and out of it, but right around this area is, unfortunately where I made a big mistake today. So the Nasdaq, right, was continuing to sell off. It ended up pushing back up above the EMA, and on this, pull back down here, I got in and I sized up fully thinking we were going to make a new low here. But as you guys can see, it was 7 o'clock at this time, and I wasn't aware that there was a report coming out, right? Or I was aware from, looking at all the reports that were coming out earlier this week with you guys, but I completely forgot about it. 7 o'clock hit, boom, this thing ended up shooting up instantly, right? It gapped up this much, and so I cut my trade because I wasn't sure how much more we were going to gap up because of that report. And so I went from being in the green about $150 to instantly in the red about $70, right? So that definitely sucked, but ultimately once it did start to break below the EMA and continue to sell off, right, and it broke the support that it did have, right, that was a good indication we are going to continue to sell off. So that's why I started to re-enter SQQQ, and I ended up, cutting my last position right around this area here. And so from when I stopped trading, there was definitely a lot more money to be made on SQQQ, right? And we ultimately ended up selling off to nearly 13,000 before we eventually found a support and started, to push back up to the middle VWAP a bit, right? And so where do I think the Nasdaq is potentially headed, right? Well, as I mentioned, right, there is a clear resistance area around this area. So to me, it made sense why we did pull on back. And so now we are testing the SMA line as a potential support, right? Are we going to see this thing break below it and eventually recover to form a new high? Or are we going to see this thing break below it and start to sell off even more, right? I'm just going to be following up with it day by day. But as I mentioned, right, I am definitely going to be paying more attention to SQQQ, right? Heading into tomorrow because of the fact that we are finally breaking below the EMA, and if we start to use the EMA as a resistance like we did here, right, where we broke below, we tried to break above it, and then we ended up forming a new low. So that's what I'm going to be paying attention to, but we just got to follow up with it tomorrow and see if it's going to try to, form a new low, or if it's going to try to potentially bounce, right, to form a new high. So that's what I'm going to be paying attention to. I hope you guys all tune into my recap tomorrow. But thank you guys so much for your time today. If you guys have any questions at all, go ahead and drop a comment and I will be more than happy to answer that. But I hope you guys all take care. Have a good rest of your day, and I will see you guys in tomorrow's recap. Take care.